Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. Today we will see the book of Deuteronomy chapters 1 and 2. Deuteronomy chapter 1, reflecting on the past and preparing for the promised land. In Deuteronomy chapter 1, Moses addresses the Israelites as they stand at the edge of the promised land. He recounts their journey from Mount Sinai and reminds them of God's faithfulness, as well as their past failures and disobedience. Moses begins by recalling how God commanded them to go and possess the land He had promised to give them. He reminds them of their lack of faith and trust when they sent spies into the land who brought back a discouraging report. Due to their unbelief, God made them wander in the wilderness for 40 years until that generation passed away. Moses also reminds the Israelites of how He appointed leaders to help govern and guide them, taking the burden of leadership off His own shoulders. He encourages them to be courageous and not to fear the inhabitants of the land because God would fight for them, just as He had done in the past. The chapter continues with Moses recounting how the Israelites requested to send spies into the land, a decision that displeased God. Moses emphasizes the consequences of their disobedience and lack of trust in God's promise. Through this retelling of their history, Moses urges the Israelites to learn from their past mistakes and to trust in God's guidance as they enter the promised land. He reminds them of God's faithfulness, His deliverance from Egypt, and His provision throughout their journey in the wilderness. As we read Deuteronomy chapter 1, we are reminded of the importance of trusting in God's promises, learning from our past, and obeying His commands. Just as the Israelites faced challenges and opportunities in entering the promised land, we too must remain faithful to God, seek His guidance, and rely on His strength as we navigate our own journeys of faith. Dear brothers and sisters, let us reflect on God's faithfulness and learn from the lessons of the past as we move forward in our own walk with Him. May we trust in His promises and follow His lead as we pursue His plans for our lives. Deuteronomy chapter 2, Journeying through the wilderness. In Deuteronomy chapter 2, Moses continues to address the Israelites and recalls their journey through the wilderness. He recounts the various stages of their journey and the lands they encountered along the way. Moses reminds the people that God instructed them not to provoke conflict with certain nations they encountered during their journey. He recounts how God directed them to pass peacefully through the lands of Esau, the descendants of Lot, and the Ammonites, respecting their boundaries and possessions. Moses then recounts the time they approached the land of the Amorites, who refused to let the Israelites pass through their territory. However, God gave them victory over the Amorites and allowed them to possess their land east of the Jordan River. The chapter also mentions the defeat of the giant Rephaim and the conquering of the land of Bashan, which was inhabited by the Amorites. The Israelites were victorious and took possession of that land as well. Through this account, Moses emphasizes God's guidance and provision for the Israelites during their journey. He highlights the importance of obeying God's instructions and respecting the boundaries of other nations. He reminds them that it was God who gave them victory over their enemies and enabled them to possess the land. As we read Deuteronomy chapter 2, we are reminded of God's faithfulness in leading His people through the wilderness. We see the significance of following God's guidance and respecting others, even in the midst of challenges and conflicts. It serves as a reminder that God is with us in our own journeys and that He can provide the strength and victory we need to overcome any obstacles. Dear brothers and sisters, let us trust in God's guidance as we journey through life. May we follow His leading, respect others, and rely on His strength to overcome any challenges we may face. Dear brothers and sisters, we will continue the next chapter of Deuteronomy in the next video. God bless you.